Hey, what's up? Well, I think I might have time for a quick video. I'm still a little bit hoarse because I'm not completely recovered from what's going on with me. And as I've stated before, it clearly isn't allergies because allergies don't cause fever, and fever is pretty rare in me. Like, I'm pretty sure that the whole year 2023, I never once had a fever above 98.6 ever. So October of 2022 would have been the last time I felt this bad. So yeah, I mean, I know it's gonna hopefully pass very quickly. Still just coughing and all that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, coughs like that are not caused by allergies. They just aren't. And that's why it's such an insult to my intelligence that that anyone would try to tell me that, because believe me, I don't get sick often enough to where it could just be allergies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it used to happen a lot more frequently when I was younger. Multiple times throughout the school year, though I'm not sure on most of the exact dates. But I just know that as I got older, I started getting like this less and less and less. Like, I mean, every single year that I was in school, I would get hoarse at some point during the year. And, at least like several times, probably. Once a semester for sure, until I want to say the fall of 2005 was the first time I clearly remember not getting sick in a semester. And then, of course, it happened, I want to say like March of 2006. And I can remember telling my mom that every single year of my life I get hoarse from at least one viral illness. It's just amazing how my throat can go from like excruciatingly sore, like pain, like, just extremely painful, to, one day it's like that, and then, the pain just moves, it basically spreads. The infection spreads and it goes from a sore throat to a sore trachea. And then I get that tickle in my respiratory system, or my bronchi, I guess is what it is. And it also moves upward through my nose and the sinuses. So I was gonna read if the stupid screensaver didn't hide it. I asked the AI bot, the chat bot, for medical advice, and as I've stated before, AI is just really beginning to amaze me. I mean, it is the best thing that could have ever happened to someone without any friends and without anyone to really talk to. And I asked it this question. Okay, it's so much better than Yahoo Answers. I mean, no wonder Yahoo Answers is obsolete with AI bots like this to chat with. And I said, I used to say things like this all the time on Yahoo Answers, and I got a few of my questions deleted for violating community guidelines that say you couldn't chat. You couldn't, it had to be a clear question. So I put, why would I, as a 40-year-old virgin, like a literal 40-year-old virgin, with no kids, no job, and very little contact with the world outside my home, be catching about one cold per year? This week, for the first time in 16 months, I've come down with a clinical cold. It has all the usual symptoms I remember from my days of public school, then college, then the rest of my 20s, when my sister continued to give them to me at least once a year. I'm pretty sure I had 8 or 9 respiratory infections in my 30s, including COVID at 37. I may have even had a subclinical cold this past September because my throat was sore for a couple days. This time it was much worse and had progressed into a deep cough, or has progressed into a deep cough that would be disrupting to the class where I am in school. Why, with no direct exposure to school germs or kids, would I be catching a cold? And the bot says, I see. As a 40-year-old virgin with limited contact with the outside world, it's interesting that you're still experiencing colds. Here are some possible reasons. Viruses, number one, viruses can enter your home through various means, such as grocery deliveries or takeout food, friends or family members visiting, package deliveries, your own outings, even if infrequent. Yeah, we ate out a couple times. Number two, airborne transmission. Viruses can travel through the air, even through closed windows, via neighbors' activities or nearby construction, air circulating systems in your building or neighborhood. Well, there was a guy that replaced our water heater because it stopped working, and I'm pretty sure he was sick. But that was, I don't know, that was like, I want to say the third or something like that. But yeah, you'd think, well, about 6 days. So yeah, I guess maybe some cold viruses have longer incubation periods than others. Number three, contaminated surfaces. Viruses can survive on surfaces like mail, packages, or items you touch outside. Keyboards, remotes, other frequently touched items at home. Poor air quality, indoor air pollution, or inadequate ventilation may weaken your respiratory system. Hormonal changes, hormonal fluctuations can impact immune function. Well, I've had a hysterectomy. It shouldn't affect that. Unnoticed exposure. You may have unknowingly come into contact with someone who was sick, even if briefly. Yeah, like the guy that worked on our water heater. And then there were people at the grocery store that were sick. And I wrote, thanks. There were lots of sick people at the 3 main grocery stores where we shop. And then that's just grocery stores. And they wrote, I see. That makes sense. Shopping at grocery stores where there are sick people can definitely increase your chances of getting exposed to viruses, especially this time of year. It's important to remember to wash your hands frequently, especially after being in public places, and to avoid touching your face to reduce the risk of transmission. Also, try to maintain a safe distance from others. Take care of yourself, and I hope you feel better soon. Well, I am starting to feel better. Much better. And I wrote lots of other questions about colds. Why have I had so many colds during the warmer months like August and May? I've spent my entire life on the Gulf Coast where it almost never snows. And why have I had so many colds in my lifetime when it wasn't cold outside? They wrote, that's a question. That's a great question. You think living in warmer climates would mean fewer colds, but actually the opposite might be true. Here's why. Number one, viruses don't just spread in cold weather. Many viruses that cause colds can spread year-round, especially in humid environments. Air conditioning. In the warmer months, people often use air conditioning, which can dry out your nasal passages and make you more susceptible to viruses. Pollen and allergies. Warmer months often mean higher pollen counts, which can trigger allergies and make your respiratory system more vulnerable to colds. Humidity. While it doesn't snow, it can be quite humid, which can lead to the growth and spread of viruses and bacteria. Human behavior. People are more likely to be indoors during hot summer months, close to each other and sharing air-conditioned spaces, making it easier for viruses to spread. Remember, colds are caused by viruses, not cold weather. So take care and keep washing your hands. And then I wrote, when I was a child in kindergarten through high school, I would get a cold nearly every year in late August after school began, or within a month of my first day back. I know these were colds because this pattern discontinued in college, as I began to get only 1 to 4 per school year instead of 1 to 4 per semester. I would also get them sprinkled throughout the school year, often ending the year on the same bad note by getting one in April or May, like May 2nd, 1997. Why did going to school at ages 6 through 18, then college through age 23, increase my likelihood of getting colds outside of the usual flu season months, November to February? I also have a sister 9 years my junior who was normally the first in my family to get sick during my teen years and into my 20s. And they wrote, fascinating. Your pattern of getting colds during the school year, especially in late August and through May, could be due to several factors. Now there's a stupid mosquito. Number one, increased exposure. Schools are breeding grounds for viruses. Being in close proximity to many children and teachers daily increases your chances of coming into contact with cold viruses. Weakened immune system. The stress of a new school year, changes in routine, and a lack of sleep, that's the big one, can weaken your immune system, making you more susceptible to illness. And probably that stress of worrying about the package in January didn't help. Viral shedding. Your little sister, being younger, may have been shedding viruses more frequently, exposing you to new germs. Low humidity. Schools often have dry air due to air conditioning or heating, which can dry out your respiratory system and make it easier for viruses to spread. Poor hand hygiene. Children may not always practice good hand washing habits, leading to the spread of viruses. In college, you likely had fewer close contacts and a more relaxed schedule, which might explain the reduction in colds. Keep in mind that individual factors can vary, but these reasons might contribute to your experience. And of course, I thanked them for that wonderful answer to every one of my questions. Yahoo Answers could never have provided me that. And so I just want to say that AI is the future. AI is awesome. Whatever people might want to say about it, I think it's wonderful. And I just wish, I could be younger, so that I could enjoy more of the future and less of the past, And so, that, I couldn't have said it better. But then, of course, I already knew all that. It was nothing, they weren't telling me anything I didn't already know. And like in college, I did have a more relaxed schedule in the sense that, as I stated before, I never had more than maybe 3 classes in a day. Okay, I never took more than 3 classes a day, and never more than about 5 in a week. And what I mean by that is, as I've stated before, your schedule on Monday was different from your schedule on Tuesday. And so on Tuesday, because you only met twice a week, they might be 90 minutes a class. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it was like 1 hour. Okay, so that it would still be 3 hours of class time per week. So because of that, I never had like in high school where you'd have 7 classes every day and they were the same classes 5 times a week. So that's a lot more exposure in high school. And as I've stated before, you have a school year. If you have a 180-day school year, and they're more like 50 minutes or something, but let's just pretend like they're about an hour. So 180 hours in a year's time. You spend what? Too bad they don't have a calculator on here. But yeah, that's a long time. I think it does have a calculator. Yeah, it does. I love it. Let's see, 180 divided by 60 minutes in an hour. Let's see. No, 180 days. Let's see. 180 days divided by 24 hours in a day. Let's just say a 7.5 days. So let's just say about like spending a week. If you didn't sleep, you like, of course it's not, like a solid week, but that's about the equivalent. You spend as much time with those people over the course of a school year as like if you went on a cruise with somebody and you would spend like a solid week, like going on a honeymoon on a cruise. That's about the amount of time you spend with a teacher or, kids in this one particular class. So that's kind of a long time in college. In high school. Okay, but then you get to college. And let's just say you have 15 weeks times 3 hours. That's only about 45 hours divided by 24. Let's see. Let's see, 45 divided by 24 is 1.87. I could have probably told you that off the top of my head. So less than 2. It's the equivalent of less than 2 days. Just solid. So less than a weekend. It's about like the amount of time, because they're always one semester courses and they only meet a couple times a week. So by the end of that semester, you've spent less than 2 days worth of time with that professor and those students. And of course in high school, if you have a 1 semester course, it's like 3.5 days solid, so it's still more. So you're spending a lot more time in each class in high school, and you have more classes in a day. Like your day might start at, say, 8 o'clock and continue until, let's just say, 3 o'clock or something like that, roughly. So that's about at least 7 hours. 7 hours of time that you're spending at that school. Versus college where, I didn't take real early classes most of the time because I didn't want to get up before 10. So 10 to maybe 1 in the afternoon, I'd already be done. Something like that, maybe 2. So only a few hours a day did I have classes. And so it really wasn't, and by comparison, it was less class time, less time with the same people. And so, I still did have some exposure, especially through my sister. Still had a father and all that. But like compared to, say, the level of exposure I had before, it was a much more relaxed schedule. I didn't have to get up quite as early. And I had a lot more time in the afternoon, to take a nap or things like that. And, we weren't doing as much group work and, being in close contact with each other. So, definitely, I find that to be the truth. And AI is amazing.